The Saints lose to the Bucs 51-27. I'm going to touch on a few points in this. How much longer do the Saints have to suffer? How much longer do the Saints have to suffer under Dennis Allen? I'm not going to sit here and say the same things that I've said about the coach because we know he's bad. He's 26-50 as a head coach. The guy's going to get to 100 games coached and have a 30-something% winning record. Sean Payton was double that. Now, we know Dennis Allen isn't Sean Payton, but Sean Payton gave this guy his blessing. Mickey Loomis doesn't see anything wrong with this dude. Oh, they're up there smacking his gum on the damn podium, talking about all these legendary coaches, how they had their first seasons turn out into it. Dennis Allen is not a head coach. He's a decent defensive coordinator. As of now, the Saints are 32nd in the NFL in defense. So what are we holding on to here at this point? I told you the stat a couple of weeks ago about how Dennis Allen's defense is being down. Dennis Allen's defense is having to defend a 6-point lead or less between a minute and a half and 2 minutes to go. They're winless. They can't do it. We gave up the second most yards in Saints defense history. The defense gave up 44 points. Yes, Rashid Shaheed had the touch. There was the scoop and score, which I thought should have been an incomplete pass. But your defense gave up 44 points, so it doesn't make it any better than 51. You gave up 594 yards of offense. You are dead last in the NFL in total defense. You are bad. You're in a nosedive. You're in a free fall. And you have to go on Thursday and face your former coach, who might be the nail in the coffin. If there's one last thing that Sean Payton can maybe do for us, it's to come in, drop another 50 burger on the Saints' head, and get Dennis Allen the hell out of town. 26-50 as a head coach. We read the stat last year. Dennis Allen, out of the 130-something head coaches that have coached the X amount of games that he did at that point in his career, he's bottom 5 in win percentage. His defense is dead last in the NFL this year. His defense has given up 450-plus yards in 3 of the last 4 games. 460 yards to Philadelphia, albeit it was 15 points. But the Saints continue to find new ways to lose football games. We saw it against the Eagles with multiple turnovers. You have a chance to take the points and you don't. You saw it against the Falcons to where you hold a team to 4 field goals, but you give up the 2 touchdowns that you gift wrap to them. We see what they do against the Chiefs. That's not really a new way to lose. You just got blasted off the field. And then against the Bucs, you forced 3 interceptions from Baker Mayfield. Given if the 2 were tips or not, the ball still ended up in your hand on a drive where the Bucs initially had the ball. You have a punt return touchdown. You put up 27 points. You battle back after getting 17 unanswered put up on you. You put up 20 unanswered. You take a lead at some point in the game. How often has a team intercepted the ball 3 times, put up 27 points offensively, and had a punt return for a touchdown and lost? I'll tell you, the last team to do it was the 1950 Colts. So we're having to go back half centuries, 7, 8 decades to find how creative the Saints are getting with losing football games. It's just, it's nothing but a spotlight on the owner, the president, the GM. Miss Benson, you got to step up. But we know that Mickey Loomis is basically a partial owner now. Mickey Loomis is backing this guy. The Saints are cooked as long as Dennis Allen is in town. We're not going anywhere. We won't win anything of meaning with Dennis Allen as head coach. 26-50, dead last defense in the NFL. I understand the injuries are piling up, right? Don't get me wrong about that, okay? But I've watched snap for snap all 6 games the Saints have played this year, and they could easily be 4-2. At a bare minimum, you need to win that Philadelphia and Atlanta game. I know the injuries piled up in this one. The Bucs put up the most yards ever in Buccaneers franchise history. You gave up 51 points. So most points ever, I believe, in the Dennis Allen era. Or maybe not, because I know the Niners had, we had that 50-point shootout with the Niners when Dennis Allen put CJ Gardner-Johnson as a rookie on George Kittle. Another Dennis Allen great moment. I lost my train of thought here. It's almost like I feel pointless complaining about this team, but you know, it starts with the owner, Gail Benson. You take a look at the president, Dennis Lauscha. I don't know if they have too much involvement because it's Mickey Loomis, been doing the things, kicking the can down the road, the bound contracts. Dennis Allen is his boy. And uh, you're going to miss the playoffs for the fourth straight year, probably. You don't have a very high chance at beating the Broncos because you have a rookie quarterback. Um, you know, their defense is top 5 in the NFL. Sean Payton is going to probably drag the floor schematically with Dennis Allen. Sean Payton knows Dennis Allen's his defense is. It's a. I mean, the game was bad. Obviously, the game was horrible. It's just another game of putrid output. It's another game of how much more can you continue to defend the leadership of this team, because you can't, if you care, if you're a fan, you cannot continue to make excuses for what this team has been. They fooled me in the first 2 weeks. The Saints are the biggest frauds in the NFL right now. The New Orleans Saints are the biggest frauds in the NFL right now. You come out and you put up the 91 points, and they're looking at the graphic from the 09 Saints, and the Super Bowl is in New Orleans, and build the statue because it's Clint Kubiak. And I can understand struggling in the Eagles game because you lost your center. I understand it all, okay? But we're running out of excuses here, all right? We are. And if it's injuries, we got to take a look at Oshner health. I'm sorry, but I'm getting so curious about the injuries with the Saints, and I'm re-looking at the Michael Thomas stories when he was talking about his misdiagnosis, and Delvin Breaux. And I can't remember the other player, but there have been players in the past who feel like they're not getting properly diagnosed, and that's why they continue to get hurt. And what it feels like now, for the 5th year in a row, the Saints are piled up with injuries, and confirmed for the 6th year in a row, the Saints have a quarterback injury. Drew Brees broke his thumb in 2018. Drew Brees hurt his ribs in 2019. In 2020, Jameis tore his ACL. In 2021, we shuffled a bunch of quarterbacks as well. In 2022, we had a shuffle of Andy Dalton. And then Derek Carr's been hurt last year, and Derek Carr's been hurt this year. But let's end on a good note before we get out of here, okay? I feel like I was kind of all over the place with that rant, but it's very simple. Saints defense is cooked. I don't know how much longer it is for Dennis Allen. Again, he's 26-50 as a head coach. That was on my Saints wish list coming into this year, and I don't know if it's going to happen. One of them was Kubiak. One of them was Alvin Kamara. Kamara, Olave, Shaheed. So kind of the offense. I wanted to see more of A.T. Perry, which waived. Is going to be the Bub Mean show probably on Thursday. And then Dennis Allen and Mickey Loomis got to go. A.T. Perry was waived. Dennis Allen's not going anywhere, and neither is Loomis. Alvin Kamara looks like, outside of those 2 weeks, he's not improving much because of what's around him. And Kubiak is doing the best he can.